it was difficult. Not only difficult in the sense that it was new to me. I mean, it's not something I'd ever done or even ever thought about doing. I never thought about directing. It's this man's fault. You don't see him. He's off camera, but he's there. He hovers over me like a spectre. Anyway, and he said, you're directing this film. And I went, oh. And then I thought, well, I'm doing it. And it so happened I was available, so I directed the film. And it was truly one of the great experiences. It was difficult because my confidence was always under question because I kept thinking, because I've worked with so many very fine directors, and I thought, but then I realized that I have a different attitude. I'm not a conceptualist. I don't have a concept. I believe in the organic nature of the people you're working with and let them do what they do. And it's the same in the theatre. I mean, with the rigidity of the script and getting the scenes right. And it's always been about the actors and getting the scene. And when you have a cast like I have, you may as well just sit back, relax, and let them do their thing.
Speaking of the cast, why was Alan Cumming the right choice to be your younger brother?
Well, Alan, this project's been on the go for a number of years. And at one point, we thought of having an American actor play that part because we thought he's been away, so he's become so Americanized. And ultimately, in the end, I wasn't totally happy about that. Some people that we talked to were very interested in the role, but I just felt it wasn't quite right. And then Alan, having lived in America now for well over 30 years himself, I thought, and I've always admired Alan as an actor. I first saw him at the Lyceum in Edinburgh in the early 80s when he left drama school. And I always remember him as he was just playing the son in Tartuffe, but his energy was phenomenal. And his drive was phenomenal. So I thought, this is a really phenomenal young actor. And I've always admired what he does. But, he's not played a part like this in a very long time. So I thought, this is going to be interesting to see Alan do this, and I think he does a beautiful job, because it's not overdone. It's just he has a real. He's so centered about it,
Mm. And it must have been special to have the score composed by Tommy Riley and Roddy Hart.
Brilliant.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the importance of music in this film?
The music, we stepped up the music considerably, and I realized there's quite a strong musical element to it. But also, that's who we are. We love our folk music in Scotland. We have a kind of, and it's a broad range because it's the Irish influence and the Scots influence. It's interchangeable, and I loved that aspect of it. And then with Tommy and Roddy doing what they did, and Roddy writing this wonderful version of "My Heart's in the Healings," which is just beautiful version. So all of that came in, and also the songs at the beginning, when we go to the club. So I realized the musical theme was very strong in the film, and much stronger. And I think we didn't change it much. We just ramped it because it's always observed throughout the film.
And you filmed at Falkirk Distillery, is
we
that
did,
right?
indeed.
Can you tell me about the logistics of filming at a working distillery?
Oh, the logistics for filming in Scotland are very difficult because most of the crews, there's also a lot of clues as well, but most of the crews are sort of Glasgow-based. It's just the reality of the situation. But the problem is with a Glasgow-based crew, and if you haven't got a big budget, you can't travel. You've got an hour. And it takes an hour to get outside of Glasgow, so that's your limit. And luckily enough, we did have Loch Lomond, so that was a great help, especially with all the scenes that we did there. But it's tricky, because if you go, originally that I didn't set it. I'd set it elsewhere. I found this wonderful distillery up near Pitlochry. And this amazing land just north of the Strath Tay, or north of the River Tay. But again, it was outside I would have had to pay overnights for them, and we couldn't, on a small budget, we couldn't do it. So one had to cut one's cloth accordingly. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a reality. And deal with the realities and just make the best out of the realities. And my wife, bless her, she did the drone stuff. So she would go off and shoot all that stuff that you see is all her stuff. She's shot all that drone stuff, so it was, you know, and I didn't see it until the edit, and it's just fantastic. You know?
And the story at its core, really, it's a story of kind of family and forgiveness.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's an important story to tell right now?
Well, I think we need to show compassion. We're living in such an uncompassionate age. And that's why a film like this to me is so important, because it's about human relationships. It's about men and women dealing with the day-to-day reality of being alive. And we don't see that nearly enough. And I think David hit something well and truly on the head with this. And that's what makes me quite proud of the film, because it deals with, you know, something that needs to be dealt with, which is into family relationships.
Thank you. To quickly end, are you a whiskey man yourself?
I used to be.
Yeah? Did you get to drink much whiskey on set?
No, because I can't drink it anymore, so I drink tequila.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey You Guys!